All right, guys. So we are here. This is episode number 4.
We getting in there. We a month in.
Episode number 4, man. We're here.
You ready to hit that hook?
You know what?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, man. It's your boy Dane. How you doing?
What's up? It's your boy, sincere journalist, blogger, historian. I apologize to the guys. I couldn't be here last week. Had some family emergency, but I'm glad to be back with you guys.
Good, bro.
I appreciate y'all.
Okay, more cuts. Originality, authenticity.
You said that word
Every week.
completely wrong.
Every
Hey, listen,
Authenticity.
we're not going to just shut up and dribble a basketball.
I know we're not, but we do have to attend class. You know what I
I'm
mean?
not going to shut up and just dribble a basketball. Hey, barber, father, everything most people want to be, in my eyes.
Oh,
And of course, it's Rome.
Yes, sir.
Crickets.
That's all you got.
Hit the hook.
nah, man, not this week, man. In the future, though. In the future. But speaking of this week, we're gonna go into our one of our favorite segments, one of the ones we introduced last week, which was super popular, man. And it is what I realized this week. And so, just basically, you know what I mean? Was there anything in particular that happened this week, whether it be, you know what I mean, serious, funny, whether it be big or small?
On my way over here, I realized that people professionally beg. Just professional. Like, let's be real. Let's be real. How many people beg you in a day? But it's people that just sit outside of the store and ask you for your hard-earned money. And I'm growing less and less okay with this personally. Like, I feel like, I used to be the type of person that felt like I was gonna miss a blessing if I don't give them something. But I'm starting to feel like, I see you standing out there smoking a black, eating a double cheeseburger. I ain't got time to sit down and eat me a double cheeseburger, and you begging me like I owe you something. I'm sorry. I realize I'm
I get
sick
mad,
and
right?
tired
I
of
get
it.
mad when you don't.
This is this girl that looked like a dude.
Oh,
and
wow.
She approached me and
Wow.
she's like, "Hey, sir." I said nothing because I'm keeping it moving. Hey, sir. I say nothing. Hey, sir, can I borrow? I said, I knew you was going to ask me for some money. That's why I ain't say nothing. I didn't want to tell you no. But now I got to tell you no. No, you may not have any of the money.
hilarious.
I got kids to feed. I'm sorry.
Right.
Is that wrong?
Plural.
I got kids to feed, and you sit out here smoking a black and begging all day. Am I wrong for that?
She's professional, huh?
Professionally begging.
You know
And
what?
she got skills. Like, it didn't, you know what hurt me the worst about it? I was really mean about it. It didn't hurt her feelings, though. It didn't hurt her feelings.
You was
man.
probably the nicest guy, though.
No humility.
When you're
maybe I should be
professional,
begging.
you don't show emotion.
That's what I'm
It's not
saying.
about your emotions. You got a job to do when you're
Right,
professional.
I would not. Just
That's
shut
like
up
them.
and dribble
I'm in the
about
city a lot, so every highway on ramp and off ramp, they there, and they stare at you. They
Oh,
just,
yeah.
I just stare back.
Sometimes, though, you got to respect the cat that's out there in 0 degrees. You know what
No.
I'm saying? Like, you got to give him a little something because you ain't out there.
You know what I do?
The 0 degree
I
weather
start
cat.
giving them applications. I keep a stack of applications in my car.
See,
Come see
they don't
me.
want that, man. They gonna tear that up, throw it back at you.
I'm gonna be real. One thing I used to do, I used to give them the change in my pocket. And a lot of times that's pennies. And when you see, like, they'll literally get the penny and just drop it to the ground. Like, you giving me pennies?
Right.
Professional.
You know what? If it comes upon me, like if I'm pulling up, I get it. I'm like, yeah, today is the day. Like I have those epiphany moments where it feels right at that time that I give. But if I got to think about it, it's an automatic no. I'm like, do I got it?
If it was supposed to be done, it would have came to me like that.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You're right.
There was one time I was out in Miami, man, and we was out there for the Source Awards, and me and my mans had like a BMW rental. So we was in Miami, and we go to the gas station. The cat walked up to us, and he needed to borrow some money. And we was like, we ain't got it. And he went off. He was ready to fight. We had the BMW, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's hard. I mean, even though it was a rental.
Oh, that's what you say. I spent all my money on that.
Yeah, I mean.
Sure. Like, that ain't free.
He was ready to fight, though. He was ready to fight.
So Is it okay for us to do it, but not stars? Is that what I'm like? So if Jay-Z saw us,
That's his
hey,
money.
Hey, I know y'all seen that Drake video. Drake out here handing out money.
He
his
didn't give
budget.
away his money.
He gave away the budget though.
Hey,
He gave away
I
the
think
budget.
that was his good deed for the
That's
year.
what I'm
Like
saying,
you
so
can't, that's his pass. Cause somebody gonna ask him, can I borrow some money? He gonna be like, do you see that video I just shot?
I just gave out 100.
I might have to give me the Drake part. Like, you better watch my old video. I gave out 900,000. Check my resume real quick.
So what I realized this week, the older I get and more mellow I get, the more ratchet I get.
Ratchet?
Ratchet.
I'm confused.
So in my car, I like all hip hop, all music. Most of my days come out with, I'm an R&B head. If anything, I'm an R&B guy. Listen to R&B. But recently, like, I get really hyped. Like, really hyped to myself. So, I think I was listening to XM. It was XM. And they played some mix. Started out with Black Youngster. That
Booty.
Got me going. I was like, oh, yeah.
Youngster, get you, boy.
And I'm in the car hyped, like, going. And then they played
Nobody pull out in front
Who
of
Want It? My 3-6, and I'm going. Like, I was like, dang. Like, I had to calm myself down. Like, damn, I'm not this person no more. Like,
Hello, sir.
yeah, hey, sorry for having that bother your neighbor. But the older I get, more laid back. Like, my turn up is stronger than my turn up has ever been.
I seen somebody do a meme about the difference in hangovers at 20 to like 30 something. Like, there's a huge difference in how you took a hangover in your 20s versus, you know what I mean?
I refuse to get drunk.
I'm with you on that.
It's a different.
I may have a beer or 2 or 3.
But you know when to stop.
I refuse.
Yeah.
It's sometimes I thought I wasn't gonna wake up. Once I hit the 30 mark, I refuse to get drunk.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
No, for me, I think I learned myself. I learned my drink. I learned what I could take, and I get pilled. I do. When I party and turn up, the turn up is real. I know when to stop. I know, like, I'll get drunk before 10 o'clock, be in bed at 11. Like, I'm talking about pill. Wake up in time to go to work, no hangover, because you got to know what drink mix with you.
Yeah.
My wife still drink tequila. We had 1,800 the other day. And I was like, I haven't had 1,800 in about a year and a half. I was crossed over to the dark. I think clear is a young people thing.
I agree.
And dark is an older type of thing. You don't take shots of Crown. Who just takes shots of Crown? You sip Crown. I ain't seen nobody say, let's take shots of Crown. You don't hear that. It's always the tequila, the vodkas. It's the clear party drinks.
I tell you, as a grown man, I don't do cheap. I just
That's
don't.
that's the hangover thing.
Don't-
Cheap gets you hungover quick.
Listen, if I go to your bar and it's some cheap stuff, I'm gonna call you out. I'm gonna call you out because you trying to kill me.
I got the cheat code though.
You got the cheat code?
I got
you
the
got
cheat
a tester or
code.
something? You bring out the lab?
I got the cheat code, man. So after you know what I mean, you done got to the point where you feeling yourself and you good. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not a cheat code. Everybody knows this, but what happens is you get inebriated to the point where you forget it. You know what I mean? But before I leave the establishment, before I go to sleep, now it sucks for your sleep, but I'm knocking out at least 6-7 cups of water.
Oh yeah.
Just like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you
the next
gotta
day
hydrate
we're
it.
good. We're good.
There's
No matter what I had, like as long as I get, a nice dose of water. And you gotta. The thing is, you gotta force yourself to do it because you don't
you're
want
full.
to.
Yeah.
You're full. You don't want to, but once you get that in you, next day you solid.
Because you
I'm
dehydrate.
gonna be
That's what it
honest.
is.
Yeah.
That's a little late for me because I'm definitely done. I'm
Hey,
the
I
type of
didn't
guy that
know.
likes going out and seeing
It
everybody
was-
else messed up.
It
and
was
being
my
like,
my
it's
white
like,
friends that put me on to a beer the next day.
Oh yeah, to get
Oh,
the
man, it takes
because
the
your
headache
body.
away.
That's why it take take just or a shot. Literally, if you
I've
have a
seen that in
hungover,
movies.
no, it's for real. Because while you have a headache, your hangover is nothing but withdrawal.
Yeah.
That's all it is withdrawal.
Your body wants more of it.
And so you wake up, take a shot, drink a beer, or whatever you want to do, but you got to put alcohol back in your system.
It's the same thing as like when you used to coffee and you stop having coffee, like caffeine, you get a caffeine headache. Like it's the exact same thing.
You know what I realized? My friends are alcoholics.
Not me, B. Not me, B. That's why I can't get on this conversation, man, because I don't drink, B.
Well, what have you realized then, Sincere?
Man, after this past week, just to go with your gut instinct, man. Like, I go to a lot of events, and for instance, I went to one in Chicago last year. Drove 3.5 hours, and the artist didn't show up.
Historian hours.
And the artist didn't show up. So, that's a long 7-hour round trip there and back.
Gas
Mad,
money.
yeah, everything. So, over
Did
this
you drop a tear, or did you have that thug?
I had a thug moment. I had a thug tear moment by myself. Going, I know I shouldn't have went. Yeah. So the same thing kind of happened last Sunday. I was going to go to Detroit in Detroit. And that's a good 3.5, 4 hours. And something told me not to go. And I'm glad I didn't for a couple reasons. None of the artists I wanted to see showed up. None of them.
Wow.
So, and also had a family emergency to where...
It would have prevented you from...
Well, not prevented. If I would have went...
It was stress. A long 3-hour ride, 4-hour ride.
I don't know what I would have done. Like, come straight back. And that was that snowy weekend. I don't know if y'all remember last... So basically, I'm always a impulse kind of person. I go and do something, and then I just wait on the results. Hopefully, it was a good night. But this time, I decided to go with my gut instinct, and it paid off. And I was able to be with my mom in the hospital and make sure she was all right. So basically, I realized just to slow down a little bit and go with the gut.
Man.
What's up, man? So for me, I got a chance to. One of my buddies, man, he was going to be doing the speaking at the county jail. So the county jail every week, there's a one day a week where they allow ministers to come in and speak to the inmates, right? It's almost like having like a small church service, right? And so my buddy, he hit me up. He said, "Dame, I'm gonna be preaching. Can you come in and do some songs?" And so I said, sure. And so working for the county for a while in the capacity that I worked in the juvenile justice system, I anticipated seeing, some people that I may have known. And so, man, I got in there, man, and now I seen some kids that I worked with, who are now, adults. But then the other thing is, man, I seen people I went to high school and middle school with. And so I would say what I realized this week, man, is that, I've always known this, but it's just, it was amplified this week that, man, I owe a lot to my mom. You know what I mean? The way she raised me, and,
dude.
Yeah, no, for sure. But looking at, people who, like I said, I played football with, was in class with, you know what I mean? Financially, we were probably in the same space, but the difference, I believe, was my mom. Like, I don't believe that the parenting was the same. You know what I mean? I didn't have more money than these other kids, you know what I'm saying? There's one particular guy that I seen, you know what I mean, specifically. Good kid, man. He got a great personality. Worked well with people. But man, he's sitting in there like facing like some serious charges. You know what I mean? This was a friend of mine, man, and I think part of the reason why that wasn't my story, a huge part of the reason why that wasn't my story was the sacrifices my mom made in raising me. And so that's what I realized this week, man. It's just like I'm super duper appreciative
I got a question.
of my mom.
If like, how would you describe your mom's parenting methods? Because sometimes, like, I was having a talk with my buddy, and we were talking about he wants to make his sons more tough like him, and I was like, man, you got to think about how your dad was when we was coming up, man. We used to use his lawnmower, and if we didn't have it back on time and clean, oh, man, it wasn't happening again, So it's like some of those methods are why he is who he is. And I have to say my dad's always been tough on me, and the reason why I am the way I am is because of how tough he's been on me. But I will say that I wouldn't change it. You know what I mean? And sometimes, in this new era, it's the babying and the trophies for losing era. Yeah, and so I'm just curious of the method that you went through.
Well, I talk about it a lot, man. And my mom probably she wouldn't see it this way, but this is my story, my perspective. I think because my mom had me at a young age, and she was in a very unique situation. I believe that there are parts of my mom or parts of motherhood that I never got a chance to experience, like most people do experience. Since I was a kid, I've always known my mom to have multiple jobs. So when I was younger, I remember her working, 2 or 3 jobs. And even now, though she doesn't necessarily have to, she's always worked. And so I say that to say that I think I missed out on a few things that other kids kind of receive with their mom. Like, for instance, I can probably count on both my hands how many times like my mom was like initiated like a "I love you" and like a hug like type situation.
I know the feeling.
You know what I mean? And so it's not that she didn't love me, because that's definitely not the case. It's just the way that she showed love wasn't the traditional, mommy soft,
gentle,
gooey, love. Like, it was like, I'm going to work, like, you know what I'm saying, like that. And I knew that, like, I think I comprehended that early. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like felt like I was being neglected or anything like that. Like, that never was the case for me. I knew that my mom loved me by what she did. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? To provide for me, not necessarily by what she said or, you know what I mean, the that
her actions.
Yeah, by the actions of like hugging and kissing on me and stuff
affection.
like that. By her affection. I knew my mom loved me by sacrifice. You know what I mean? Not necessarily by her affection. So she was tough, you know what I mean? And she always she ran a tight ship, man. She ran a really tight ship. I never got a chance to spend the night at my friend's house ever. It just never happened. And
I had the opportunity. My mom wanted too much. My mom needed.
I
need their social, their mama number, their grandfather day.
That.
If it was astrostreet.com, she would have wanted that.
I see you running to your room.
Well, why can't I? Because I don't know them. I don't know them.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Did your upbringing, like, did you think about the consequences? Like what your mom would do if you did it?
So full disclosure out here, man. I probably, I was scared of sex.
Because of what
Legit
your mom was
scared of sex because of Benita. Like, I was legit like she was the greatest birth control ever, because I'm like, yo, I don't know what I would do if I had to tell my mom, like, yo,
right,
I got somebody pregnant. Like, my mom did an excellent job at convincing me she would go to jail. Excellent.
Shout out, Mom Duke.
Like, I knew, like, yo, she would.
Not
she
playing.
definitely.
I think I'm still scared of my mom today. That's why I don't have any kids, man.
You know what? That's weird. Because
I never even told my dad when I had my first. My mom had to tell. I called my mom. Hey, look, you gonna have to tell my dad, because he gonna try to trip out on me, and I ain't trying to have that today. I'm already going through enough.
In my head, my parents still don't think I have sex. I got 4 kids. And in my head,
don't do that.
In my head, they
not
don't
be
know.
doing that.
No, but so me growing up, my parents are still married. Been married my whole life. So it's a funny story behind the whole life. That's why I laughed. My parents got married when they were pregnant with my sister. Me and my sister are 4 years apart. So I always know how long they've been married by how old my sister is. But they've been together, married 27 years. Their anniversary coming up in March. But they've been together 33 years, at least. But my parents found out possibly I was having sex. So when I was growing up, my parents used to I'd say ship us off, but it was giving us in the summer. I would go to my aunt's house who lived in D.C. So my aunt used to help take care of me, help mold me as a person. And so,
how old were you when that stopped?
I think my junior year.
You just a quick sidebar. We're gonna get right back to that. You ever heard of mumbo sauce?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
We get on that conversation. It's like the greatest. We can talk about that.
I'm lost, but
And so, I think I want to say it was my junior year going. Me and my cousin from Gary, we'd go. Me and my favorite cousin, best friend, we used to go together. Yeah. So we went my junior year, and my parents decided to give me a new room, new bedroom set. So they cleaned out all my old stuff. And so I didn't know. And so when I got back, I had it. And so then my mom was like, "Hey, what's these condoms?" I was like, she's like, "You having sex?" If I was having sex, you wouldn't have found no condoms. So why you have them? What you talking about?
I think everybody's got caught up with that one. Right?
And my dad never even mentioned it. The only thing I think he said was, "A couple of these look like some of mine." So I think it's a hit or miss. I don't think my parents and I ever had that conversation. My mom is a social worker, so she always preached to me about the harms and all that. But the actual having the conversation, hey, this is it's going down or it's happening, or I don't think I ever had to have it. Or I think they prepared me enough to be careful. So it's weird. It's the weirdest kind. I don't know if I can handle it with my kids yet.
Yeah.
I hope they come to me.
It's rough, man. It's rough.
That's what's up, man. But yeah, man, that was my piece for this week, man. Shout out to moms, man. So we're gonna introduce another new segment actually to the show, and I know you guys have heard my bro Sincere talk about the fact that he's a journalist and a historian. If you follow him on the gram, you know that to be true. I mean, he literally has a library, at his fingertips, and so I just feel like it's only right that we do a segment, that highlights the wealth of knowledge.
Hey, I appreciate that. This week, like you said, we're going to have a segment every week just acknowledging the architects and the pioneers and, something you may have not known. But this week is, actually this month is J Dilla month. You guys familiar with J Dilla?
Dilla. Common spoke highly.
Definitely.
What was it? What, he didn't do Come Close, did he?
Come close to.
I don't think he did.
What was the one with? He had one
did a lot
with
on
Badu in it,
right.
in the. She was in the video. I forget it, but yeah, Common spoke highly of him.
Definitely.
I think it was one of his beats that.
Yeah, he did a lot
catapulted
on B.
Common's
Are y'all familiar with
situation.
B? The album B.
Oh, cold.
Yeah.
It's my top 5.
No
it's
doubt.
in my top 5.
I might be a historian one day. Don't think I ain't ready.
Yeah, so we're acknowledging the late, great J.D., who passed away also in February, was born in February. For those who don't know, I'm sure you have heard of some production he's done. Busta Rhymes, Tribe Called Quest.
Most definitely.
Common, like it was mentioned earlier. And like I said, I just wanted to take time. The Light, The light.
Yeah, he did the light.
There
Exactly.
you go. There you
And I know
go.
everybody's heard that, so they may have not known the name.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There are, you know, it's a white dude.
No, I did not know
You
that.
did not know this was
my
white
favorite.
dude?
You
know,
if you
my-
listen
the-
to it.
Fun fact for me, my favorite one was the remix, which was done by Macy Gray. Macy Gray did the remix.
yeah.
That was my favorite one when that came out because like Common was my guy. I was putting him up there in my top 5 a little bit at that time, but he since fell down.
He just hadn't put
Wow.
too much out.
Just haven't put enough information
Wow.
out for me.
He can't fall if you don't put out.
He
stuff.
fell down.
That
Yes,
mean
he can.
That means he hasn't fallen.
Listen, if Nas don't get himself together.
What did he do for Buster?
Busta, what did he do for Busta? Good question. I'd have to look
What-
it up.
what song?
He
you
did Buster. I think he did the whole deal of like Buster was so in love with his use of the MPC that he took the Dilla Donuts and he did the whole entire thing.
Like I think
okay,
it would
okay.
take stuff. I don't know exactly
If he
what.
like produced for him while he was
Oh, okay,
alive.
okay,
See,
right.
like a lot of what Dilla did wasn't like while he was alive. A lot of people really got hip to how the dude was just using the MPC in a whole different way.
Right.
So a lot of people would take his music and they wouldn't understand how he was using a sound as a snare, or he was doing a lot of different things, and his music would be so choppy that nobody could understand how he was even doing it.
You know what?
He used to be studied.
After having this conversation, I'm like really proud of the stamp or the footprint that the Midwest has put in hip hop.
Yeah.
you got him. You got my
Eminem?
guy who did.
You talking about B-Wise?
Let's just talk about producers. You got
Okay.
him, of course, Kanye, and then my guy who did 444.
Oh, that's no
No
idea.
idea.
No ID. He's from Chicago.
Chicago, right.
And then we go to the rapping part.
Come on, we could just start with Twister.
Well, him, but
on.
I was gonna say even Bone
Cat's
Thugs,
still
like
listening
Cleveland.
to.
Yeah.
Cleveland. Yeah, I mean the
Cleveland.
Midwest.
Yeah, Cat's still listening to Adrenaline Rush. If you
Yeah.
get a system in your car right now, I guarantee you one particular song you gonna play is Adrenaline Rush,
Yeah, Midwest definitely.
and then you comment all that kind of plays in, man.
That's a lot,
it's-
and even for the new age. I mean,
the conscious
Lupe's
era,
up
we
there.
kind of
Okay.
we kind of did that conscious thing. We
And
bring a
then
lot of
Freddie
consciousness.
Gibbs, y'all.
Freddie Gibbs is dope.
Freddie
Gary,
Gibbs is
shout out to
dope.
GI. But then you gotta, and I know a lot of people are not fans of it, but you gotta give respect to Nelly.
Nelly St. Louis.
You know what I mean?
I give respect to Nelly. I know he ain't like thugged out or nothing, but I love Di.
Nelly-
he was a part of my childhood.
Nelly made one. This is what I'll say.
He made cornrows
Nelly
famous.
was Drake before Drake, and what
Nelly
I mean
was
by
Drake
that,
before Drake.
what I mean by that is
Nelly was Drake.
he sang, and he was more so like, you know what I mean? He was definitely like the pop guy. You know what I'm saying? Like you go back and you listen to his joints, it's super duper popish. He just made one mistake that Drake never makes. Drake will cross over and do like the super soft poppy joint, but he always follows it up with like
Something.
a
banger.
mixtape or a banger.
Yeah.
So what messed Nelly up? And this just and maybe you can chime in on this.
Country.
What messed him up? It was a great idea. Doing the country joint was a great idea, but he never
He never followed
he
up.
never followed up. So his core fans
They
were like,
felt
the
left.
people who made him hot, which is us, culture. You know what I mean? We were waiting. Okay, it's cool. You went over. Like we understand. We understand. Get your money, Nelly. Like you know what I'm saying. Like
gotta
get your
get
money.
it.
But at the same time,
Give us some.
Come
bro,
back.
yeah, like
Don't forget about
I
it.
think with that is he's seen the bigger picture and like money, because he can now tour with a country act. I seen him on tour with like
oh yeah, he's set.
New Kids on the Block, TLC. I went to that tour, but you got to think what
Man,
They
that is-
sell out.
That is some money. I don't know if I want to be with Vanilla Ice backstage.
Oh, the price was right, bro. And that's what he was thinking. He's thinking, no, I can end up, because who came out in this time? Chingy, maybe? Was that the Chingy era?
Yeah, he
And
was.
where's Chingy at now? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
Shit
but
was
even here's my thing though. Even without that country hit, Nelly
Right
was
there.
heads and shoulders above. Even Jay
But-
said it. Only dudes moving units is Eminem, Pimp Juice, Nelly, and us.
Yeah.
That's what that's I forget what song that was on,
Right.
but
Him
only
and Luda,
dudes
him and
using-
Luda to me are like what and what. You know what I mean? I think that
He's one of
Nelly.
the few to go diamond.
Yeah.
With Nelly?
Yeah. That was that on the swimsuit album or was that the
I think
one
it was
before
probably
that?
the
I
Nelly.
think it's a collect. I don't know if it's
Nellyville?
one album
Oh,
or not.
maybe collectively.
Yeah.
But you gotta admit, or what was the first one called? Country Grammar.
Country Grammar.
Like every song was a hit. You could not.
Hotch.
Every song
No,
was a hit.
no, they weren't just hits. They were momentum. Like every time he hit you with one, it was like, well, I guess that's the new sound.
Yeah.
Dude made cornrows cool for chicks.
Well,
chicks wasn't wearing cornrows.
I witnessed New York going crazy because New York was all New York. But
Yeah.
I was at the club and EI came on.
Yeah.
You thought them cats was from St.
They
Louis.
was trying to hit.
They went crazy.
Yeah, they went crazy. I think that was momentum.
He was the first
for-
one with the dance that tied into the song, and he did. Nelly did, man. I gotta give
Nelly
him that.
was Drake before Drake.
Yeah, the
I just think
Band-Aid, though.
on that country joint he just made the wrong. You got to drop that and immediately drop
Yeah,
something
you
for the
gotta give
street.
him
Like
something.
you gotta like.
I mean, it's gonna be hard for him to get the streets back, but he knows.
No, he's done.
He's done.
Yeah,
I think after Air Force Ones,
after the reality show, I think it was over with for
Yeah.
Nelly.
But the country joint was after Air Force One.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
He
he's set,
on some
though.
Kevin
he can
Hart
tour.
stuff.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
good.
He's just not making new material.
He's good.
Yeah,
But
like-
he'll-
There's
He
certain-
might be making new material.
there's
It just
certain
don't
acts.
hit.
Hey, Jay-Z has definitely changed the age that you could be to make rap. So
But
Yeah,
Jay Z has never not been relevant though.
yeah,
But
I
you know
like
what?
Jay. I like
Everybody
Jay.
forgets Snoop.
That's what I was about to say.
Snoop, 30
sold
years
out.
in the game.
He sold
But
out.
he's never took a break.
Last hit.
Drop it like it's hot.
Sexual seduction.
Beautiful.
No Limit Tanks.
But I think
He's still relevant though.
I think once
Snoop
you gather,
is relevant.
Once you gather
He
up,
just was at the All-Star game. Like he's still relevant.
he's never
weird
took a
to me
break. I
now,
think once you
man.
take
He
a
like-
break, it's over.
I don't know what
Yeah.
he's
You know,
doing.
he's
Like
never
I'll
took a
see a
break.
video of him with like lollipops on his shirt and like a lollipop suit.
I don't think we have
And then
expectations of Snoop anymore.
He just
There's no
dropped a gospel
expectations.
album. Like I don't know what to think of. Like Snoop,
He can't come back.
he coming
after
to
that.
God. He going to,
Rastafarian.
He's just doing whatever he wants because
Yeah,
at
at
that
that
level
time, yeah.
where he still has all his credit, nobody can ever
Right.
take it from him. He made his work,
Right.
and so I
He
think
can still tour. He's got his core songs where you're
Super Ice Cube.
always
Snoop or Ice Cube.
I take
as far as
Snoop.
as far as
Snoop.
As far
It's
as-
over body of work. However you look
Body
at it.
of- oh,
Who
if
you
we going
choosing?
body of
Who
work-
you taking? Who's on your team?
What-
Who's on
I
your
got
label?
Cube, man. I got Cube.
You got
like
Cube on your label.
rap body of work or like
Movies.
You start a label today. Who you picking?
Snoop.
or
Cube.
I'm gonna go with Snoop, man. Just cause Doggy Style was like
the album you grew up
Talking
on.
about music. What about movies?
No,
Snoop.
you
Hey,
can't.
Last movie Snoop
I
was
thought-
in was
I
what?
thought- I thought
Training
Snoop was
Day in a
gonna-
wheelchair.
I thought Snoop was gonna get a Grammy for Baby
He had
Boy.
that
man.
movie. He
I
that
was-
no,
he
the
killed
Dame,
my
the
Oscar.
movie with Wiz. The
High
Devin
School
and
High.
Devin and what is it? You
Man,
know
that don't count for that.
I'm
I'm not
movie.
Snoop got
correcting
the
that.
most bootleg, low-level B movies out.
Hey man, Snoop should not be allowed to wear a wife beater though, man.
Baby boy.
He
Is
should
that
get
Jody?
penitentiary years for that, man. He is so little. He woodle.
Waddle.
He woodle in that little.
Well, yeah, man. Shout out to the Midwest, man, for having an imprint on
No doubt.
on hip
And,
hop.
that is who I'd like to acknowledge this week, JD. This is Dilla month, so go out and check him out if you don't know about him.
Please
Please do.
check out a Dilla joint.
Just one.
It'll change.
Oh,
your
he also produced for
perspective.
Janet Jackson too. So
Slum Village.
Facto.
Slum Village, yeah.
Facto.
Check it out.
Whatchamacallit, he's Kanye's idol. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Kanye
definitely.
looked up to him heavy. Yeah, so Dilla's amazing.
doubt.
Has there ever been a Dilla Eminem joint?
No, I don't. No, I don't think so.
Super unfortunate.
Eminem's not good enough.
Well, Eminem, I don't think they cross paths, man. I mean, they're both from
Well,
the
I'm just
D.
saying.
Right,
you know,
right.
You
Nah, I
say
think-
hip hop in Detroit, you got to mention them
Well,
both.
I think Eminem was like pro Dre for a while.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
that
would
makes
be
sense.
at that time. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
I mean, that's
and I
who we
think by the
signed to,
time,
all
like
that.
I don't think Detroit really, latches on to Dilla like the outer world does. So
that's crazy.
yeah,
Ain't that crazy? Your hometown don't love you.
yeah.
That's how it be.
It happens like that. So, well, that's awesome, man. Is there anything else going on in hip hop, man?
February is a big month, I think. Big Pun's birthday, so we got to acknowledge that. Big L, we lost Big L. some years ago.
Sorry to backtrack. How did Dilla pass?
Lupus.
Okay.
Lupus at 2006. Me and him are that same age right now, so he's been gone for about 11 years now.
Wow.
12 years. Yeah, lupus kind of crept up. I don't know too much about it, but
Man.
his
Super
mom's
whack.
is out there still waving the Dilla flag.
That's what's up. I must admit, man, I have not done as much crate digging on Pun as I should.
Well, he had a
He's
very
like highly respected amongst like rappers.
Yeah, but he didn't have like a lengthy. He had like that
Yeah,
big
catalog.
career. He had one album, and then they released Endangered Species as a after death album, sort of
Yeah.
like Machiavelli or Life After Death.
Yeah.
He had one album. So
Wow.
I mean,
I'm just saying, in as far as like guys who got like bars,
right?
a lot of people like heavily respect.
Big L or Pun?
Ooh,
Big L or Pun?
ooh.
I'll be honest, I don't know enough about either to
Well,
really give you
I don't think there's a right or wrong answer with that.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
Yeah.
That's a rough one. See, that's why y'all like that Kendrick Lamar stuff.
All right. Speaking of Kendrick, great way to segue. Kendrick
We're not gonna talk
was
about
responsible
Kendrick today.
for the.
Call him Interscope today because that's really all he is.
Well, I mean,
Interscope.
it's highly successful.
Yeah.
We can call him that too.
Because Interscope. I mean, if I signed Interscope right now, I'd be successful.
Not necessarily.
Yes.
So
Who's not-
every
Yes.
artist on
Yes.
Interscope is amazing.
Maybe
Yes.
they do their homework,
There's-
and you got to be a good artist to be on
Oh,
Interscope.
you definitely got to be a good artist.
See?
How do you get there? That's the question. How
Jimmy
do you get there?
Iovine and Dre is not just
How do you
picking
get to
up
Dre?
anybody.
Well, Dre.
Okay.
Dre
exactly.
got to see the money, man.
just
Dre
saying.
got to see
How
the
do you
money.
get to Dre?
Dre is Dre. You don't just go to Dre.
Not everybody's on Dre's radar. How do you get on Dre's
Well,
radar?
He must have heard
He's
the
got some
Leprechaun.
scouts.
And
Oh, so Dre was interested. What made Dre interested?
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you what it is. Bars. Speaking
It's
of
not
which,
bars.
Speaking of which,
It's
Kendrick
just
is
good.
responsible
It's all right
for
music.
the album Black Panther. That
He
wanna
he produced the soundtrack.
he produced the soundtrack. Funny though,
to be with you.
I didn't see I didn't see Disney on the. I think it's just like a Top Dog Aftermath.
I think so.
Which,
it is.
which makes sense because it's very explicit. So Disney's probably not going to
Don't put their name on it.
their name on that. But I'm
But
pretty
they-
sure Disney's getting
But
the cut
who
somewhere.
better to push that soundtrack out there than Kendrick? Though?
I would. This would have been the perfect opportunity to see a Kendrick and Cole collaboration.
And
This
And
would have
they-
been perfect.
I
And they-
would like to hear that.
This would have been
Just for
perfect
the
What's holding them cats back?
from doing a collaborative
Yeah.
situation. I think I don't know, but I'd
Kendrick-
imagine.
I think their
weird,
styles don't mesh.
Kendrick is
like
weird. Like his
for them
hooks are
lyrically,
not
you
musically
compare
sound.
them. You compare them lyrically together or their content. But I think style wise, they're different.
Yeah, they're different, but they both are like beasts, though. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but-
Like, for instance, Ye and Jay are completely different. Watch the Throne was amazing.
Yeah, but
That's true.
That's what the world
They're
wanted to see.
completely different, bro. Like, you can't
Completely
you cannot compare Kanye and Jay-Z. They're
At all.
completely
At
different.
all. They don't even have the same
Kanye,
thinking.
and this is post, 808s and a Heartbreak. Kanye is singing a lot. Yeah, I mean, like they're different, bro. Kanye and Jay are just as different as Kendrick and Cole.
But the difference between them, I could give you this because I'm not going to argue that point. They worked together for many more years. It wasn't them coming together.
Yeah, for sure.
like-
Like Kanye
like-
is responsible for a lot of the biggest hits
Right, like and
of
what
Jay-Z's career.
and Kanye admitted that Jay didn't like some of Kanye beats, but Dame did.
Yeah.
Like so
Well, Jay didn't like a lot of the stuff. Jay admittedly didn't like a lot of the stuff on Watch the Throne, but he went with it. Like I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he really rocked with what's the joint they did
In Paris?
the Paris joint. I don't think he really rocked with it initially, and then Ye had to paint the picture like, yo, listen, this is gonna go, and Jay went with it. You know what I mean? It was more so of a thing of Jay.
it's a
trusting,
respect
yeah,
thing
yeah.
because he's seen his format. So I think that's what made them work better because they worked together.
At
Yeah.
this
I
point in time, is it? I didn't mean to cut you off. Is a Kendrick and a Cole album too little, too late, or you think the world's still?
No, they're both.
I'm not interested in it.
At this point in time, you're not.
I would be.
What?
My question would be:
Not interested.
do Kendrick produce anything? Like, is he in a? Because I know that's a large piece of what J. Cole does. He produces most of his music.
Yeah, Kendrick produces from what I've read and what I believe. Like, he's not sitting behind the boards like or keyboard like playing anything or mixing or anything like that. But he has that ear to. Tweak, he does what Khaled does. You know what I mean? What Khaled is a producer. Like, people
so that might
can say whatever they want to say, but I put Khaled in the same era of artistry as an interior designer. Same thing with Kendrick. Like, they don't make the furniture, but they do make the vibe that's in the room. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, so, you know what I mean? I didn't make the painting, but I'm still an artist because I created something in this room that wasn't here before. The feng shui or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So Kendrick does that. And I don't know, man. I don't think you guys are giving enough credit to the fact that Kendrick does well on features.
Boo.
Like, he's able to like feature on projects very, very well. The joint he did with, well, this was his, but the joint he did with Drake, the Janet Jackson joint, on
Poetic Justice,
the Poetic Justice joint. That was a great collab. I know a couple years ago, Kendrick and Cole, like Kendrick, they did a flop thing like where Kendrick rapped on a Cole beat. And Cole rapped on the Kendrick beat, and so they dropped that, kind of like teasing people. But I think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen.
I don't know. Did y'all hear about him recently banning cell phones at his concerts?
Oh, Kendrick.
Yeah,
I love it.
You like that idea?
I love it, man. I love it, man. Listen. I'm a huge fan of cell phones. Obviously, technology is amazing, but at the same time, I'm not gonna be ignorant to the fact that it has changed the way we consume things.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's changed the way we consume even relationships. You know what I mean? And I think that you would have to be willingly ignoring some things to not admit that it has its negative effects.
Do you think? What do you think the fans' perception is going to be? Because if I go to a concert, I want to capture everything from my $65 ticket. Is that going to drive fans away because they can't capture the moment?
Because when you go to comedy shows,
what's that?
When you go to comedy shows, they tell you. Kevin Hart tells you that. So it's the same. And to me, I'm not a phone. For me to be serious about my phone, I'm not a big recorder of things on my phone. Yeah. Like, I like to live in the moment.
So it's not a make or break deal for you guys.
I like to live in the moment. If I'm Snapchatting, tweeting, or Facebooking about it, I'm not living in the moment. I'm doing that and I'm missing something.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, I'm not paying attention. I don't pay all that money just to say I'm there.
Well, yeah, I went to Kanye's concert, the Life of Pablo joint, and, I had my phone. I was able to record and stuff like that, but I was so...
caught up in the moment.
I'm a part of, I'm so engaged in what was going on. I did take a picture because the stage was dope, like he was floating. You know what I mean? But I probably referenced that picture maybe 3 or 4 times. That was 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Because he started that tour out in Indianapolis, right?
Yeah, but we were really a dress rehearsal, essentially. No, seriously, essentially we were a dress rehearsal. But it was great though. It was great. A lot of anticipation.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought. Well, Travis Scott was there, but he didn't do anything. He was just there.
What do they want you to do with your phone then?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it'd be like a comedy show. They warn you once, and then they kick you out. You have your phone out. I'd seen it.
I was at that Kevin Hart show, and they didn't play around.
Yeah.
I've been at 3 shows like that.
Yeah.
That makes sense, though, for comedians because
it's the material.
It's the material, yeah. You know what I'm saying? You post something that, you know what I mean? Which kudos to all comedians, man, because... we were just talking about Nelly. He'll be able to tour off the same songs for the rest of his life. A comedian cannot tour off the same jokes.
Right.
That's true.
I know. Because that joke break out what his show was about. His whole tour done after the first one. Yeah. Everybody seen it. Nobody wants to see
it anymore.
Yeah, that was his fear, though. People filming his concert and driving away people that wanted to come. Because they felt like...
I think if that's your philosophy, it's a bad philosophy. Because people
that was his philosophy. Yeah.
I mean, I think if that's his philosophy, it's a bad philosophy. Because people will go see you regardless
of
your fandom will go see you regardless.
So you think it'll backfire, or you think?
I think it have no effect either way. People who don't go. It gives them a reason to say I ain't going because he won't let you have your phone.
I have no problem with giving Kendrick Lamar my phone so I can go and enjoy his set.
He cannot have my phone.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
so,
it's
yeah.
for people who appreciate the upper echelon of bars. You
not
like
gonna
McDonald's, you can take your phone
You're
at
not gonna talk
McDonald's.
down to me like this.
I'm not gonna talk down to you, but what I'm
You
saying
make it
is
as
you
if
don't
Kendrick
like
has
you don't
bars.
like upper echelon bars.
No,
That's
they're not up.
You're not a fan.
You're
not a fan
lower
of.
tier.
I feel you.
Good content wrapped in a whole bunch of leprechauns. I want to be with you.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Jay-Z has a line about people like you.
No, Jay-Z is
Let's
my
hear it.
buddy,
What's the
pal.
line?
It's the line in when he was going at
top-tier
Kanye.
guy, top five guy.
When he said if everybody says
You gotta explain your bars are not that
well,
good.
I'm not. It ain't my. They're not mine. They're Jay's, but you don't say that Jay has weak bars. But
Jay
he
never
essentially
had
said
weak
that if
bars.
everybody says that you crazy, then you know what I mean. You crazy, pretty much. You know what I mean.
Everybody says you're.
Everybody says you're crazy about the Kendrick thing. But let's move on from that.
I got
Who
this.
has said a Kendrick Lamar bar?
Do you
yet?
think anybody could have did that production better or differently? Because me, when I heard it, I like it. Not knocking it. I really like it.
Kamo, you cannot discuss this one because you didn't listen to it.
I want to be with you.
Can I ask? Is it supposed to be? Does it go with the film? Is that?
It's a couple African vibes.
Oh no, it's all laced in there.
Is it?
And the reason why it's all laced in there because all rhythm comes from the mother. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't go wrong. Like, it's.
But I think, so, to me, I'm more of a movie buff, and I'm that guy. So I felt like, Black Panther. The Black Panther Party was based off the comic book Black Panther. People don't know that. The first Black Panther comic came out in April of 1966. July or August, the Black Panther Party was created of 66. That's the type of impact it had. So what I felt like I think the album was missing for me is more samples from that era. Like
That would have been dope
Hold
if they
on.
would have incorporated that 60s vibe. I guess.
just what I mean.
Right.
I got it. I get it. But for me, I think I wanted a couple of them, and so I felt like Kanye to me is like the king of samples. And so if I had a couple samples in there, I think I would have liked it a little more. Like I said, that era of samples. I'm not saying the album was bad.
That would've been a dope
That was for
concept.
me knowing more about it. That's what I missed from that album.
You mean knowing more about the comic, the Black
The
Panther?
comic, what it does. Like I said, just that it came in the 60s. It presented the Black Panther Party in the 60s.
The comic is tied to the party?
You missed what I just said?
I did. One more time.
So, the Black Panther Party pretty much originated from the Black Panther comic. The Black Panther comic, the first comic was April 1966. The Black Panther Party was created in August 1966.
Okay. All right, I'm with you. Nah, I thought it was great, man. I thought that the production was dope. I thought that that Kendrick did a good job of selecting I think he has Travis Scott on there. The joint with him and SZA is super dope.
Yeah.
Is it mainly a TDE project?
No. He got Schoolboy Q on there. He got Absol on there. But I mean, there's a lot of artists. There's a lot of people that I'm now searching for, like Georgia Smith or something like that, or
something.
I forget. I forget the name. But anyways, he put a lot of great artists on there. One thing I will say, I wish he would have had a little bit more. I wish he would have had more representation from OGs. I would have loved to have heard a Nas verse.
Right.
I would have loved to have heard a J verse. You know what I mean? Something in that. I dang near. Well, no, that's a little bit. No, I ain't gonna. You would hate this, but I was gonna say I would have even liked to have heard like a Chuck D.
No, I would have loved that.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
definitely. Ooh,
Just one.
KRS-One, Chuck
yeah,
D.
Yeah. KRS-One would have been perfect.
Wow,
in the mix.
that was the
Oh
moment.
man,
That would have been the moment.
just a verse. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
That would have been the moment.
been the
That would have been I would have bought it just off of that. Just off of that.
that would have been cool. But I think the entire vibe is really dope. He had the one kid,
Vince Staples.
Khalid.
Vince
Oh,
Staples.
Khalid. He got Vince Staples on
Yeah,
there.
Vince
Okay,
Staples.
I like Vince
He's not
Staples.
TDE.
No,
not
he's
TDE,
from
but
Long Beach.
Yeah, he's
so-
from out there.
he's
though.
from
Yeah.
Cali. He's West Coast.
Yeah. So it was really good. 2 Chainz is on there.
Kendrick is known for that because I
That's my
think on his
favorite
first
new
album
guy.
he had MC8.
I wouldn't even call 2 Chainz new no more.
I mean, yeah, he's not, but like
He wasn't new when
took-
he got
Anderson
one.
Paak.
took me a little while to let him go.
James Blake is another good one.
But he's my guy.
Who's that?
We talking about 2 Chainz.
The Weeknd.
Okay.
The Weeknd was on there. So I mean,
And he's
Had a
Zakari is TDE though, right?
Who?
I don't know.
I don't want to be.
So
that
out of
guy.
5 mics, what you guys get this release?
I give it a 3.5.
3.5.
Man,
Cause like I said, I told you why. Cause I felt like it was an error for me that he just missed.
Yeah,
Like
it
he,
sounds like you 60s, 80s, 90s. Sounds
yeah.
like there
I
was
mean, I
something
just
missing
think that
there.
would have been dope. Like for what this film is and what it's been representing. You know what I mean? It would have been dope to have a little bit more of the OGs involved. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I said, I
They
think a
could've done-
Nas verse would have been perfect.
It sounded like they.
but
could've
what
done
track?
So much.
I think he had to make a whole track for them. It couldn't be nothing
no,
that
for sure.
was. I don't hear no track that's on the album that could have held some of them.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you. He would have. It would have had to have been a.
Somebody else produced it.
Yeah.
Sounds like that should have been a bonus disc of.
See, but I don't think
Need
like
that, need
there are
that.
multiple producers on here, so
Is it?
yeah, there's multiple producers. Like it's not just one person
I thought
producing the entire thing. Like so, when they say Kendrick produced it, that just means he oversaw
right.
the entire
But I thought
project.
him and his team produced it all, which is what I. Was
Oh
going
yeah, but I think they had the ability to put something that Nas could go on. Like
for. I don't know. I don't know.
Did you rate it yet, Dame?
You haven't not rated it yet.
Out of 5 mics, what does Dame give it?
I really wish you would have said 10.
No,
But
we can't do 10. I
know.
really should have said.
But out of 5, so far, man, I give it a 3.
Solid 3.
Solid 3.
So Kendrick is getting 3s out here?
Well,
It
yeah,
wasn't a
look,
Kendrick
it's
project.
not exclusively a Kendrick project.
But it was mostly Kendrick.
No,
No, actually, no.
Kendrick is on 1,
That's
2,
why I ain't listen to it.
All right.
3, 4 or 5 tracks out of 14.
Yeah, Kendrick need to do better.
Yeah, man. It's not. Yeah, so it's just he just oversaw it.
All right,
Hey,
I'm
but the
sorry.
joints that he's on,
I'm sorry.
Fire?
the joints that he's on is fire. X is fire or 10.
X go hard.
All the stars is
Is it
dope.
X or 10?
I think it's 10. Because that's Roman numeral for
forgot.
yeah. So 10 is dope. Big Shot is really dope.
That ruined it for me because I thought
Big
it was,
Shot?
No, X or 10. I thought it was X for like X. So now that ruined it for me. So I think they should change it to
maybe
X.
It might be a
it is
subliminal
X.
reason behind it. Might be
Maybe
a
it is
subliminal
X, but he
message.
says, "Are you on 10 yet? Are you on 10 yet?" So that's why I thought it was. I thought it was 10. I just thought it was the Roman numeral for it. So every track that Kendrick is on is cold. Bloody Waters is really dope.
So what's Kendrick get on that album?
Oh, Kendrick gets a 5,
Boy.
straight 5. But anyways, we not gonna get into that, bro, because we understand your Kendrick hate runs deep. It runs deep. But here's the thing: you cannot comment on anything Kendrick until you listen to a project. You listen to a project. That's like somebody saying K-Mo gives trash haircuts, and they've never sat in your chair, nor have they ever seen your work.
Have you seen my work? You know,
No, they haven't. But they run around saying, you know what, man, this dude's haircuts is
Because they seen that week old.
it
Haircut.
It happens. So you gotta stay.
All right. So what I'm saying is that a fair assessment of your craft?
Hey, it's not about fair. It's business. B.
Nah, B. Answer the question, B.
business.
Is that a fair assessment
if
of your
somebody
craft?
hating on me, I had to learn how to shut them up. You know what I'm saying? I remember I had to tell a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, come get your first haircut. You pay what you want to pay so that I could get rid of some of that.
No,
so
I'm with you. I'm
need to
with you.
give
But
me
there's
some
somebody
stuff that
out
I
there
like.
right now that
So
says
that I wanna listen
your
to it
haircuts
and quit-
are trash, and they've
quit-
never seen your
I just want him to
haircuts.
quit talking in that voice, man. I just want him to
So
get
is it,
out
fair,
of there.
is it fair to say you liked his earlier stuff at one point in time?
I did. I like
He's
J.
never
Cole
listened
a
to
little
it.
better.
Never since
Not
I like
even-
J.
not
Cole
even
without the
He's
dreads.
not listened to it.
I like
J.
J. Cole without the dreads. I like Kendrick Lamar when he came out with his little baby chain. Now he think he don't need no chain. He dressed like a slave in most of his videos and all that.
A lot of Grammys though. But
Yeah,
anyways,
yeah.
so the
He
movie
does
comes
Interscope.
out. Everybody, you guys went and seen it.
Yes,
the
sir.
premiere.
Yes, sir.
Sincere, what are your thoughts on the movie?
I think, man, if they
Black
would have
Panther.
I think if they would have gave
Hold
Mike
on. Black Panther, Wakanda. I'm sorry. Wakanda. You gotta get it out.
I think
man.
the only thing missing, man, was a Michael Blackson guest appearance.
No, I wanted to see Joel Embiid on there. Where was Joel Embiid?
Just imagine Michael Blackson.
I'm not entertaining y'all foolishness. This movie is too good to be talking down about my people.
You know who surprised me the most is Michael B. Jordan, man. I think he did a wonderful job. I wasn't expecting
he
it.
did play like a villain,
man.
not villain, but
Because I thought he was the corny dude, man, coming in with the glasses and the stonewashed jacket, talking about, you know, when he wanted to see some stuff. I thought he had like a small role. You know, just a small, I just thought he was the.
You thought he was gonna die quick.
I thought
he was
the
lead
sidekick.
background
I
or
thought he was
something.
gonna be the sidekick.
he
in
wasn't
the
lead
movie.
background. He was the guy.
Yeah.
That gave me. I knew he was the main villain because he's. I was kind of upset they. Spoiler, sorry if you didn't see it yet, but they killed him because he's like Black Panther.
Or did they?
Correct, because he's Black Panther's
They can make- yeah.
Joker. Like that's their nemesis. No, in the like so.
In the comic?
Yeah, like that's his nemesis. And so what bothered me because
Now, oftentimes they change a lot of stuff in comics.
I
right?
know I got it. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, no, I got it.
I'm not into comics like
Like,
that.
so I was okay. So I know the comic. So Killmonger in the comics is like huge.
Is Killmonger related to him in the comics?
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
But he's huge. He was bigger than M'Baku. Like in the comics, like he's some huge dude. So when I first heard they was having Michael B. Jordan play, I was like, they the same size.
Yeah.
Like I was thrown off. Like I was upset. Like, oh, this ain't no. And then when I heard the I heard Michael B. talk, I knew in the comics he was educated, but I was like, he sound like an American. Like everybody
So
else talking African, he American.
His
And so
character is actually in the comics.
yeah,
Him.
yeah.
Okay.
But like I said, he was huge. They teared it down to modern day, which I think was a great approach for
loved
me.
it.
For me, knowing the comics and knowing a little more about it than the average consumer of this movie, I think they did it well. Because I was like, I ain't gonna like it. Like I just knew I wasn't gonna like his character because I knew who his character was. But I actually enjoyed it thoroughly, how they brought it and how they changed it to fit today's.
Right.
But
I'm
no,
with you on that.
because I didn't know how they were gonna do it. I just did not know, and I was
You
completely.
think it's living up to people's expectations?
I think if you don't know comics, you don't know all the stuff like that little stuff. Like I was like hesitant about, so you wouldn't know that. So you wouldn't be like, oh, like real comic nerds would be upset about it. But I don't think it's. I personally don't think it's too many us comic nerds who don't like you know how they do with the Star Wars movies. Like that's not right, and I don't think it's gonna be too many of that. I think we're happy to have it there.
It exceeded my expectations.
Because you were out of this group, you were kind of the Black Panther hate guy. You didn't hate.
No, I didn't hate it.
I said out of this group.
Yeah. No, out of all my circles, I was the one who had the
Chadwick
most.
Boseman.
Yeah. No, he did a great job.
Did he?
No, he did a
I
great
didn't hear
job.
you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Okay, good.
Doesn't change the fact that I can name like 10 people who could have did just as good of a job.
Ah, you're lying. This dude did a wonderful job. Who else could have did that?
Anybody else in the movie?
Facts. Michael B.
Michael
Jordan could've
B.
did
was
that.
not gonna do the same.
You've already
first
seen
of
it,
all,
K-Mo,
had
so
the-
you have a
the
skewed
accent
view. But I'm just
down.
saying, as far as acting, like that role,
It's not
there
in there.
was no like in-depth acting going on. Like
The
there
accent-
never is in Marvel movies. So that I'm not dissing him.
I
I'm
really,
just saying,
I
that's just
really
not
thought
how-
he nailed it. I mean,
He nailed it.
Maybe he didn't
Yeah.
go all out, but I mean,
I just think it was so much he could do with the role. It's not.
Whatchamacallit would have did it. Would have did a great job.
Who that?
Jamie Foxx.
Idris Elba.
next D. Ray would
Idris
have
Elba
been.
would have did a great job.
D. Ray would have been able to do it. Come on, man.
Well, I can say,
Don't say D. Ray.
and I wasn't gonna say D-Ray, but whatchamacallit got some acting chops. A lot of people don't know that though. Mike Epps, he got some acting chops.
Yeah, not that role though.
Yeah,
Yeah, because of what he's played before. If you've never seen him in anything, he could.
I'm excited. Mike have
I'm not
sidebar.
hating on Chad.
I'm
Chad
hurt.
is great. He's
I'm hurt.
amazing. I just want Hollywood to know that there are other African American actors who are capable of delivering to the same level, if not greater, than Chad. I'm not hating. It's great. Whatever.
Let's agree to disagree.
I'm
It's
just
stuck
saying-
now. He got his contract. He got 5 movies in.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
Black
No,
Panther.
He's good.
He's,
Until they
did it.
change it, because if this is as big as Spider-Man, they didn't change Spider-Man like 3 times.
well, it's because it's different producers, different this. But he's signed on to Marvel, I think, for
Yeah, but
4
I'm
movies.
saying you said there's not a possibility that they would.
It's a contract for
I understand that, but I'm saying after the 5th,
Oh, I think that it's don't go away because
because they're not gonna do 5 Black Panthers.
Who
They
knows?
Right.
might.
No,
They
no,
got-
they're not.
They got
Who's
9
coming
Fast and Furiouses, so they might.
No,
run that
no,
sort of-
no.
good
they-
movies are good.
those-
Just like Avengers,
And they
it's all
include
that. He's signed on to Marvel for 5 films.
Yeah.
So it could be a Hulk piece that he.
But and you know
Tag
what?
teams in.
Chadwick is 41 years old. I heard.
Yeah,
So it's not like he has that time to
yeah.
play around with.
get it.
He
So,
looks young though. He sure fooled me.
yeah.
What was your thoughts of the film?
Working in the school system, I always notice that there's a lack of pride. You know what I'm saying? And in that movie, the sense of pride was at a super high. Like everybody seemed to really care, and I think that sometimes in our communities, that's what we miss. Caring about each other, not necessarily like caring about how you dress or caring about the latest trend or the new car out, but just caring about each other. Like we're all together. You know what I mean? They doing like this, and it was a pride thing, and
It
I
was a
think
culture thing.
a culture thing. And
Like they cared about the culture more than
Yeah.
that scene where she was like, "I serve any king." She was like, "Well, you served him. You grew up with him," and she was like, "I serve Wakanda." Like,
My allegiance is to the throne.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we miss that in our community where kids don't have pride even when they play sports and things like that. They don't have a sense of pride of their family and for themselves. I know me as, my last name is Morgan. That's always meant something to me. So anytime I get to put on a jersey with my last name on it, I want to represent my family well. And I think that this movie really pushed family and culture and caring about where you're from and what you're about. So I really like that piece. That piece really is what hit home for me.
How deep was that line, though, that Michael B. said at the end?
He said,
I got you. I could quote
Throw me in
quote
the
it.
river. No,
he said, "Throw me in the
Bury me in
water."
the ocean.
Like my ancestors
Who
knew
jumped off?
that it would be better to die than be in bondage.
Yep.
Yeah, that's deep. I mean, how do y'all feel about that? Could you take bondage? Do you feel like there's bondage in our today's
Here we
society?
go.
What is that?
Bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that jumped from the ships because they knew death was better than bondage.
That's
Deep.
deep, man.
I think that's the line of the movie to me.
I think like now, living with purpose is so important to me as a person. Like I've been through a lot of different jobs and different things that I thought would lead to a career, and I feel that way more than ever now. Like I'm not being tied down to anything that's not a part of my purpose. And so I felt that it resonated with me because that's how I truly feel now. The more I get to know myself and I become more spiritual, the more that I really look at life with purpose, and I don't want to just do anything. I want to try to build up people, not destroy, unless I'm breaking somebody down to build them back up. But I feel like, right now that speaks to me just because, I'm trying to live with so much purpose now, where as a younger K-Mo, I may not have been as moved by that.
So I'm gonna hit you with something. You remember episode 1? Y'all were a little upset with me because I said I ain't want a funeral.
Yeah, I don't.
Y'all remember that?
You have
My
one.
exact
played it.
point. Like he said, he wanted to be with his people or with the earth, or they said we'll bury you correctly and give you a proper burial. He said, I don't want that. I want to be with my people. And like I told you, I don't want to be with people who come to my funeral crying and you weren't with me shooting in the gym. Exactly what I said. Mm-hmm. And so I think that part of me, I was like, man, I feel you. Like, you're not even the whole movie, he was half a villain to me.
Well, that's what I was gonna pose this question, man. One of my my mentors that I follow on Facebook, his name is Joshua Smith, out in Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Man. Yeah,
I've
great
met
guy.
a couple times.
He said this. He said, "I want to talk about the antagonist Killmonger, who I will not call a villain." He said, "I won't call him a villain because, in my opinion, he's a symbol of the disenfranchised black man and woman in America, and he is a revolutionary." So earlier when you were talking about the comic and you were saying that that's Black Panther's nemesis, I think that's the term you use. I referenced the idea of sometimes in comics, I'm not a huge comic guy, but I know that they change, they stray away from what happened in the comic book, and I'm hoping that happens with Killmonger because I didn't see him as a villain either.
No, but you can have a.
I didn't even see him as misguided. Nothing that I saw.
I think he was bitter.
No, I just think he had.
He was.
You know what?
Because
he was left behind.
But how else can you feel?
Yeah, I don't blame him. I don't
check
blame
this
him.
out though. Bitterness normally implies that there's going to be a selfish motive at the end of it, right? Like if I'm bitter about something, like it's because of I and what he was upset, and his whole goal was helping everybody else.
Yeah, that's deep.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, his whole focus was, let me put this vibranium in the hands of people who can use it to better themselves. Like, it's not about Killmonger taking over for the sake of Killmonger. I want the throne. He did have that in there, you know what I'm saying? But I want the throne. Why? The end goal was to help other people. So it's very difficult for me to see him as
this is where
a villain.
This is where I say half villain.
That's tough, right?
This is where I say his all paths to hell are paved with good intentions. So my point when he crossed over into villain, where he burned it, he said, "Ain't nobody after me."
Yes, sir.
I agree.
So that to me, that's why he's a half villain.
That's probably his only villainous moment in the movie.
I mean, his whole perspective was he came in and he's like, okay, so let's say I become the president today.
That was his most selfish act in the entire movie.
Well, when you become the president, you have to look at what's going on and understand what's going on. All he understood is where he was from. So he didn't really understand his heritage yet. Although he may have been Wakanda and all, but he didn't understand the true meaning of why they do what they do and why they haven't,
But he was right though. They were wrong.
I won't say that. This is where I'm gonna go.
He was so rash with his decision making, and this is what I want. That's what to me made him a villain. He was mine. This is.
But Pete,
I'm here now. I'm your king now.
At the end. When Black Panther goes and sees his father that last time, he told his father, y'all was wrong.
Right.
Like, y'all was legit wrong. Like, y'all was foul. And then at the very end, we see he's going to try to trying to do the exact same thing in a different way.
Right.
But he's trying to reach the exact same goal that Killmonger was trying to reach.
Right.
They had two different pathways of getting there.
Right.
But what did he say? We're gonna open up this youth center. I bought this building, and we're gonna open up this youth center. We're going to give our resources. You know what I'm saying? Back to people.
But it's
so
that
this
whole
is where
situation
Killmonger
where
is.
people is like when you're right, but you're really wrong. Like
I'm saying Killmonger
somebody
wasn't
might
wrong.
Come and nudge you like this, and then you smack the dog out of them. You know what I mean? I may have been right that I shouldn't let you nudge me or whatever, but at the end I was wrong, and that's how I feel like Killmonger was. Like he was right.
He went
in
about
his
it the wrong
thinking,
way.
but he was so wrong in his path.
His
So
philosophy is right.
came-
His strategy was
Right,
wrong.
right.
Yeah, if he would have included everybody, if he would have came with that sense.
Well, I think that's where that bitterness comes into
No,
play.
I don't
Like,
think he
Yeah,
needed to
that's-
include
that's
anybody
what
because
I'm
he's the
saying.
king.
He had that-
He's the king, and I think he needed to strategize differently.
Peep game. The exact same critique that you have about Killmonger is the exact same critique that white folks had about MLK and the Black Panther Party.
This is what I'm gonna say. This is what.
Well, and you know what? I think a lot of times the emphasis is on black versus white instead of inclusion. And
don't.
I know some people feel like civil rights, we should have just stayed separated. But I feel like we decided to be together. There's just as many white people that don't have anything coming their way as there are black people. So if we all were more about everybody equality and not just equality for black people, I think that we would be a lot further along in the movement. And that's just my opinion personally. You know what I mean? I think there's just too much emphasis on making it happen for blacks. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's not necessarily a black issue. It's privilege versus everybody else.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, you also have to realize that as black people, we have a history in this country that is, well, in the world, period, that is unique to us. Nobody has experienced what we experienced.
Definitely.
So
I don't want to take away credit
sure
from.
that you can treat everybody.
But it's
kind
of that same thing that you, like you say, it's a direct comparison. Michael B. Jordan, he had that bitterness, and I think some of us have a slight bit of bitterness about what's happened. And maybe if we...
Is it bitterness or passion?
It
man?
was bitter, man. Like,
I don't know.
He got left behind. He got left behind, and there's no other way.
He didn't get left behind.
Yeah, he did get left behind.
He in his head, he didn't get left behind. What happened to him was his family was gone. He didn't know what Wakanda looked like. If it was any bitterness he had, it wasn't because he got left behind. It's because his dad was supposed to take him and they didn't get the opportunity. It wasn't that he felt like they left him there or abandoned him. They took something from him. They didn't leave. Wakanda said we left him. T'Challa said you left him.
Right.
But in his head, he wasn't left. You took.
Yeah,
I can see that.
I'm with you on that.
So this is my comparison I'm gonna give you. My biggest issue with the U.S. right now, the U.S. occupies more, the U.S. is in more countries than any other nation or country in the world.
Deep.
They're in 110 countries, and I mean military force in any other countries.
Yeah.
Most people that dislike the U.S., Middle Eastern countries especially, don't like that we're there because we're in their business. We're in their mix, which is grief for the U.S. While we have ISIS, who literally just hates the U.S., why we have the terrorist attacks from Islamic radical groups, because we're in their countries telling them what they need to do because we think it's the right thing to do, because we said what we think is proper. So to me, Killmonger had that same philosophy. I'm going to give guns to everybody I feel is oppressed or needs means to overthrow whatever country they have. So which would have made Wakandans the U.S. The problem with the U.S. now, we can't self-contain ourselves. Our value is decreasing every day. China is self-contained. They ship out everywhere else in the world. Nobody goes to, you don't go tourists. I mean, you don't go, it's not a lot of tourism in China. They don't let everybody in. They don't let everybody know what's going on here. Wakanda survived so long and had the advantages they had because they was in secret. So when you open up your doors and then you put yourself in every country or everything, then you make a lot of enemies.
Man, I always said if ISIS is a group trying to take over the world and we going after them, what are we trying to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's always been my theory behind it all. That's why I don't agree with KKK or any of that, because it's like, if y'all going after us, you know what I mean, and we're going after you, essentially we're doing the same thing that you're doing. If we playing in the finals together, you know what I'm saying, we both trying to win a championship. One of us might win it. One of us may not. So I don't necessarily agree with war, but war makes a lot of money for people apparently. But I guess my question would be, do you feel like that movie was sending a message? What was that message?
Sent multiple messages.
A lot. My philosophy on a lot of things is Wakanda. Like, I didn't know until then. I think we kind of had this conversation how I'm not I wasn't I didn't live in this time, and so this is just me reading and understanding and how I get into things that as black people with no country of our own, you could say, yeah, we are Americans, but technically we were, like they said, we were shipped here. We were brought in. Like we lost our heritage. They cut it off. During the civil rights movement, we had integration. Before integration, as black people, we had more things for us. So I think if we were self-contained or self-sufficient like Wakandans, we could have had that same type of Wakandan feel. Because guess what? What everybody says. Like even with this, they be like, hey, we flock to go see Black Panther while we won't support our local black businesses. And you know why we don't support our black local businesses? Because we could go buy from people we couldn't buy from before. We were so inclusion. We wanted to be included in what they had instead of being happy with what we had. Like, I'm all for equal. Like, segregation, we wanted the same opportunities they had, and we wanted the same books. Like, that's where it started. We wanted the same type of education. We wanted the books they had, not left hand-me-down 30-year-old books to teach from. We wanted the new, updated 2018 books in 2018. We didn't want the 1998 books in 2018. And so instead of giving us the books, they said you could just go to school with us. So I think if we were self-reliant, we could have had the same success. We could have had black-owned banks. All the black millionaires we have in the U.S., none of them had said, hey, let's open a bank. Like,
might get killed for that.
Again, like,
so
Rush.
Where is the vibranium? I need some.
I think the movie, man, like it was just a good positive representation, and that hopefully Hollywood will continue to
definitely.
You know, this will be like the first step, because every year we get a slave movie.
Every year
we get a slave movie. Or we get the what's the Samuel Jackson Django type of character, you know?
A comedy, but a slave movie.
Yeah,
Django was still a slave.
Hey, don't stop
not Django. I'm talking about Samuel Jackson's character.
I still need those movies in my life, though.
So hopefully Hollywood will continue to see, you know.
Like, I want to see a black James Bond. We have a black James Bond who's ready for it. Idris Elba.
Will they call him James Bond, or will they call him?
Why
James
you had?
Brown.
But he's James Bond. They all were. They changed James Bond 15 times. They didn't change his name then.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's time. Like, I watched the interview with Idris Elba. He said they ain't ready for any type of
this movie. They're probably really considering it now.
If the success of it, I think they're more open to it.
Right.
At this point, if I was him, I'd be like, no, I don't want to do it. The money had to really be right.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Dame, I know you said you had something really interesting as far as
your
takeaways.
There were multiple hidden messages, I feel like, in the film. And we could talk about a plethora of those, man. So one, and I love this, the fact that he couldn't do nothing without a woman. Wakanda don't move.
Right. There was women's rights in Wakanda.
Listen,
they
Wakanda
had rights.
Don't move.
Yeah.
Every pivotal point in that film, a woman
and they was
like directing the
I,
ship. So you look
that.
at
I appreciate that.
the very opening scene. Don't freeze. She tells him, "Don't freeze." He ends up freezing. Puts his life in jeopardy. Who saves him? The general, right? So then you go to the situation where, you know what I mean, he ends up, dying. Or he didn't die, but he got thrown over the cliff.
He was near death.
And near death.
The rhino incident?
No, when they had the fight. When they had the challenge, they threw him off
threw him over the thing. So you have
the three big women in his life. That's huge.
It's really four, because old girl was just as important in my personal opinion.
I mean, I'm just talking about there who saved him.
And who saved him. So you got his girl, Lupita. She goes and she gets the root or whatever that was.
The herb is what they call it.
But Pete, though, so and it's so symbolic, like of like black culture, because it's like, okay, this young girl, she got the legs, she got the strength to go, you know what I mean, put her life in jeopardy to go grab this root, you know what I mean? So she did that because remember, Killmonger was, you know what I mean, doing the ritual at the time. He was in that garden and he was, you know what I mean, about to, burn it down. So she goes and gets that root. But that root means nothing if she doesn't have the wisdom of his mom. Because the mom knows how to do the ceremony. Mom had the wisdom to bury him in the snow. Them young girls didn't know that. If you notice, mom took the lead. Now, mom didn't go get the root.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But the cycle isn't complete without that.
Yeah.
Without that that wisdom. You know what I'm saying? And then his sister is heading up all the technology.
She held him down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
She hated on him a lot too. Which I like that because like. Amongst us fellas, we joke with each other, we stay on each other and stuff like that. But
it's all love at the end of the day.
Yeah. It spoke volumes to. It was a metaphor. You know what I mean? It's a bar. It's a metaphor for
bars.
The place that black women hold, not only in black culture. We know that. You know what I mean? But just in American culture, period. Just the culture, the culture of the world, just the world's existence. I've always said this, and I will continue to say it. No one has went through as much as the black woman.
So
no one.
How I took that was it was very African. If you know anything about lions and their prides, the women do all the hunting. People don't know that. Like the male lion,
I'm new to that.
His main job is defense. Really.
It's defense.
Yep.
Like the women are more vicious than the men.
Yeah.
The men are the leaders.
That's real life too, though.
Yeah, I mean, we all know this. So I thought it was very African that his bodyguards, all his leaders were women because to me it was just very African because that's how it is there still.
Yeah.
And so we don't have the advantage of being here where women are not in a higher place as they should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who's giving y'all the herb if you need the herb? Any woman in your life that's gonna give you the herb when you
I'm married, so my wife is there.
Okay.
Mom Dukes.
Okay. I think my chick is ready. She's ready. So I'm gonna say she gonna do it. She's ready. I'm to that point now.
For me, man, I mean, I was raised by women. So my mom, my aunts, my grandmother, you know what I'm saying? I was raised by women. So like, I don't know, the entire movie, it was just dope to see women, you know what I mean, at the forefront of greatness. Yeah.
They wasn't backing down.
The other piece that I enjoyed was the encounter that he had with his father, because he basically told his father, "You did wrong. You was wrong." And so, why is that relevant today? Because I feel like, you know what I'm saying, there is a need for this generation to acknowledge the wrongdoing of the previous generation.
I agree,
you know what I'm saying, and just say like, "Yo, listen, like y'all was wrong." Like,
yeah,
and that's in a lot of different areas. Like for example, I mean, I know everybody's not, you know what I mean, religious, but you even look at church. Just gonna take that small example. Church did a horrible job of passing the torch to the next generation. So, you know what I mean, the church does a horrible job of saying like, okay, let me let these young people take ownership of, you know what I'm saying, what we got going on. And so now the church is in a situation where you sit back and you look and it's like, man, ain't no young people at church. Yeah. Nobody's even going. Like this is not just black people. This is church.
Everybody,
period.
Yeah.
There ain't nothing but old people and babies in churches. You know what I'm saying? And it's because the previous generation did a horrible job of passing on that ownership, you know what I mean, to, you know what I mean, the next generation. So I thought it was really dope that he made it a point to tell his father, because you realize how much respect and how much reverence he had for him. But when he realized he was wrong, like, listen, bro, like what you did has had a lasting effect. What you did or what you didn't do has had a lasting effect. You know what I mean? And
it jeopardized more than what you thought it was.
yes, it affect more than what you thought it did. So, you know, it spoke to that. I think the other piece, man, that I really enjoyed was in the beginning of the movie where, you know, he says they're flying in the little jet thing. And he says this part never gets old, and it was that whole idea of Wakanda being hidden in plain sight, and I think that is dope. And the reason why I think it is dope is because I think that that is a parallel or a metaphor for our greatness. You know what I mean? As black people, I think that our greatness, our vibranium, has been hidden in plain sight.
It's
like
right there.
Yeah, it's always been there.
You gotta
and
want it. You gotta
here's the
need it.
thing: other cultures have tried their hardest to imitate the vibranium that we have.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
In music, you know what I mean? In sports,
Everything.
in every aspect.
Everything.
They try, and you notice whenever they let us in, we dominate.
So I'm gonna give you this little like nerd moment. So our vibranium to me is our melanin.
Yeah,
It's
I
our,
can see that.
It's our melanin. So if you take that philosophy that us as black people, our vibranium is our melanin, and then you take it to the comic book world. So you know, most people know Wolverine and the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they did to Wolverine
They injected him with vibranium.
to make him live longer, be
Heal
useful,
quicker.
heal quicker, run faster. So,
That was my
and that's
favorite
what it's
Wolverine.
a thing. It's what they wanted. They always tested vibranium to make something better or stronger. Then you go a little forward, go to Get Out,
I hear you.
Yep.
I
and then
hear
guess what
you.
they wanted?
I hear you.
Yeah,
Our
They want
melanin.
that melanin. You want that? They want that body. They want that body.
So, you know, they always, I mean, not say they, but they tan. So
Youngins.
they screenshot so they don't burn. We have that naturally, you know.
I just hope this next generation learn what believing does. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's to me our vibe. Like, believing is real. You know, like, it's so many hardships that I've been through, and I learned the power in believing. You know, I just hope that, because a lot of youngins don't believe in themselves, and they watch a movie like that, and they may not take away
From
the
what we
fact-
just said, anything.
Yeah, anything. Like, this might be blowing right over their head. Like, why are they talking about this stuff? But belief is so powerful.
And that was my biggest takeaway from like I knew. So I got in trouble a lot. Like as you guys alluded to, like I wasn't necessarily like the biggest like. I wasn't super duper enthused about it. You know what I'm saying about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the reason why I wasn't like overly excited about it is because
Your Daishiki had came in the mail yet?
that and the fact that I was discouraged for two reasons, and I talked about this last week. But the first reason was we don't own it. That was the first reason why I was kind of somewhat discouraged. You know what I'm saying? And I just wasn't like
Did you create the memes that's out there? Cause
Nah, I didn't create
Yeah, you
those
did.
memes. I did.
Yeah, you did.
But the other piece was, and I got in trouble for this. Like some of my closest friends were like, "Bro, like I can't believe you said that." I was surprised at how many adults were, men in particular, how many adult African American men were. It seemed as if they were looking for this movie to provide some affirmation,
Yeah.
to affirm some things. And so for me, I kept on saying this movie is going to be great, and it's going to be great for kids because imagery is huge, right? Imagery is a big deal. I think seeing things is huge, right? But we'll all admit that as you get older, as you become more mature, as you start to learn things, imagery has less and less of an effect on you. For example, the way that they sell like burgers or like hair care products, they always got the supermodel on there. You know what I mean? Like somebody that's like has nothing to do with the product, but this sex piece is like huge. Like so, Axe, like the Axe body spray and stuff like that. That has no effect on me now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but you're aware. You're aware
because I'm aware. Because
you're
I'm
conscious of
a
what's
little bit
taking
more
place.
mature.
Is it because you're a little more mature, or it's oversaturated that you see it so much?
No,
it
it's
doesn't
because I'm a little more mature. Here's another one. I'm a huge sneaker guy. Love sneakers, right? Big fan of sneakers. And so this past year, there's been a lot of Jordans that have dropped. And there've been a lot of 11s in particular. 11 is a huge silhouette, but they've been dropping them, a lot of them with the icy bottom. That's that clear bottom on the gel bottom, right?
That gets dirty faster.
I've made up my mind, because I wear my sneakers, I'm not buying those anymore. I don't buy the icy gel bottoms anymore. Reason why is because after like 2 wears,
it's over.
It's yellow. It's trash. Like, it's horrible. You know what I mean? So the releases that came out, they had a blue pair that came out that was sweet. They had an all red pair that came out that was super sweet.
You like those pictures, though.
I loved them.
So it's hard.
I didn't move.
Yeah.
Because I'm wiser now. 5-6 years ago, I would have moved, knowing that, you know what I mean, it would destroy my shoe. Like, you know what I mean, because I wear mine, I would have moved. But so what I'm saying is, it was kind of disappointing to see. It was kind of disappointing to see how much imagery still has an effect on adults.
What's crazy?
Does that
man,
make sense?
I get it, but it's because
I was watching the History Channel and they were talking about this Black Panther movie, and then they were also talking about Marvel movies, and I seen just as many white dudes that was like, "Oh, when this happened, it empowered me," and I'm like, "A comic book?" You know, and then there was the black guys that were on there that were talking about the Black Panther. Like, when I first saw this in a comic book, an actual black guy there, and I kind of get it.
Were they were speaking from a kid's perspective when they first saw it?
Yeah, they were younger.
Makes perfect sense. I think it's important for kids to see it.
Yeah,
this is
but
what I'm
I
saying.
didn't realize, like the joy that was in their eyes was like, I'm ready for this next one so I can feel it again. It's like, you're not gonna feel that.
But they may, because I think we as a society or a generation, a lot of us grew up without fathers. I'm excluded from that because my dad is still fully. I think I talk to that guy every day almost. If I don't talk to him, it's a different feeling when we don't talk. But that's rare that we still have our fathers, still have and had our fathers. But we are a generation. I remember growing up and being in a class full of kids, and maybe me and one other guy had fathers in the house.
Yeah, it's real.
Let me ask you guys. You guys have spoken on what you guys liked and messages within the movie. What is there anything you guys would change about the movie that you didn't like that you would have took out?
They ain't had to kill my guy.
You think he's actually dead?
I don't think he's dead.
I think there's a.
Which is what I was hoping. I'm hoping that they become.
Yeah, like together that'll be.
Because, and the reason what made me think about it was Thor's brother didn't die. Nope. But I don't know what happened in the original comics. I don't know if Thor's brother in the original.
It's very. I mean, they're all similar. Like, Loki doesn't die because what you see in Infinity War is literally
what happened in the comic.
It's very close. It's loosely.
Well, I hope they change it, man.
I don't know. You never seen him buried.
Yeah,
anytime they don't show anybody actually get buried.
Did y'all stay to after the credits were over?
Yeah.
So y'all seen the White Wolf thing? I don't know what that alludes to.
The White Wolf
No,
thing?
we ain't seen
Oh, so y'all left. Okay, so you guys stayed
for the first one.
There was another one after that.
Oh yeah, I missed that one.
Yeah. It was a shot of his sister.
Shuri.
Yeah, it was a shot of her. Well, the first thing you seen was these kids, these black kids, looking down in the camera. Obviously, they're looking at somebody, right? And they're looking, like this person is asleep, so they're kind of like checking him out. And then they start laughing, they start giggling, they run out because whoever it was had woke up. You know what I mean? And they run out, and what's her name?
Shuri.
She's outside. And she was like, were you guys laughing at that man in there, whatever. And the kids started giggling. And there was a white dude without an arm that comes out.
Oh, that's Claw.
No. No.
Not Claw?
Nah, this dude got long hair. He's younger. It's a completely different white dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is at the very, very end. He has on
so I got to go back and watch it again?
I mean,
I'm
probably
going to watch it.
You know what I'm saying?
So you know what spoke to me? It was like today, modern day age stuff. That so the one before that, when he's at the press conference, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna change our ways. We don't finally, share, and we don't trade."
And then the dude said,
What can your farmers
possibly offer us?
You know how I took that. What can y'all niggas do for me?
Yeah, no.
That was their tame way of saying, y'all niggas got nothing to offer me, so why would I want to hear this?
Everything we do, they try to do. That's crazy. Never mind. No comment. Okay, so I rate movies by cell phone pickups. The lower the number, the better. I definitely picked my phone up 3 times during this movie.
I probably picked it up not at all. So the movie was phenomenal to me.
It was saying twice here, twice. Yeah.
Maybe once or twice.
It was phenomenal. And I couldn't make it to go with you guys, but I'm glad that it went down the way it did because I was able to take my little cousins. I took three of my little boy cousins.
Oh, yeah, they loved it.
Four of them.
Love it.
Sorry. It's 4 of them. I took all 4 of them.
Did you get them a mask?
Nah, man, I ain't getting no mask. I got them popcorn, but
sold out? Was it sold out where you went?
It was sold out. I got my tickets the day before, though. I purchased 7 tickets the day before, and then I took them, man. But yeah, man, I caught a lot of flack, man, for my position on, you know what I mean? Because as phenomenal as the movie was, I still hold my position. I think it was going to be more important for kids to see it than grown adults, because at the end of it, that movie didn't necessarily give me anything new. It didn't give me any information I didn't already know. Like, I know that black people are amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that black people are dope. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Glad to hear somebody else saying.
Yeah. So I got into it with one of my best friends because he was like, "Yeah, man, it's affirming," and I'm like, "Man, it sucks if, like, in my opinion, it just sucks if we have to wait for a Marvel movie to affirm what I feel like we should already know." So it wasn't affirming; it was reaffirming. Like, it highlighted something. You telling me that you learned something in that movie that you didn't know before about black people and about black culture?
It's because this is the difference between probably us and a lot of people, our age groups, that we thrive to be better, and we know we got to dig and research ourselves, and we probably have all done that on many occasions.
Yes, sir.
And self-reflecting, but a lot of people our age don't know how to do that. And so, like, we read books, we research stuff that give us that affirmation that, what I thought in the back of my head is actually true. But that old saying is sometimes true. You want to hide something from black people, you put it in the book. Yeah. And so this was an opportunity for black people to see it on screen that they usually wouldn't get in the book.
And that's what like I said, one of my buddies, he said this.
So it's sad.
Thing.
It's a sad thing.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with if they got it, if they get it that way.
Right.
I'm okay and happy that they got it as long as they get it.
Right.
You know what I'm mad about? Why did Oladipo take that Black Panther mask and do that terrible dunk? I just want to know why he felt like he
I
could
didn't
wear,
see it, but
he didn't have the juice. You know when Black Panther had to get the little herb back and get the juice? He ain't had the juice. He needs some milk.
Who ended up winning that?
Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell.
From Utah?
You know, when they play for Utah, it's like, who? Dude with the dreads.
Everybody who won was from a losing team.
Yeah, everybody who participated, well, except for Larry Nance.
Yeah, Larry Nance, he should have won, man.
He kind of looked like you a little bit. Like, y'all might be cousins.
Listen, man, stop that, man.
I mean, I'm just saying, bro. Tall,
he looked
light skin.
looking at me. I ain't got the doofy going, so stop.
If you cut the beard, we don't know. I mean, maybe.
Nah, see, this beard right here, this don't nobody got my beard, man.
I feel you. Well, hey, listen, man. Speaking of slam dunk contest, the All-Star game is about to start. So, who y'all got winning? Team Curry or Team LeBron? Just make your predictions.
I'm going with LeBron.
Breezy.
Yeah, he gonna go the opposite way just cause.
I'm gonna tell you why. It's Curry, because they have the shooters.
I'm going with Team LeBron. We shall see what happens.
It
done started. We gonna see what happens.
So this is what I want to see next year. The only tweak I think they should do is have they should film the picks like the choosing of because you know they got to pick their teams this year, and then everybody keeps saying to do it before the game. I
think that'd be dope.
I think it'd be dope, but I don't like it. I think they need to do it the day before.
That's pretty tight though. That's
because at that point it's a pickup
I like
game.
To know what's up.
That's a full blown they should just do shirts and skins.
Cool. You could do that. You could do that. You know,
and
before or after. You can really do it after the dunk contest,
or you could do it like before all those go, like before the skills challenge.
I think they need to scrap that whole idea and just go back to East and West. The 3-point contest, if Booker wouldn't have played in it, it was trash.
Yeah.
It was. I'm talking about they was getting 9s and 11s.
I've been saying it for the longest. They need to do a Legends game. Yeah. I would love to see.
So
man, like
even if it's just
Jordan
a half court, like
J to get 3-on-3.
Yeah,
like,
cool. Little,
it's nostalgia. It wouldn't be a good game.
I would want to watch that.
Out of nostalgia point.
But the All-Star game isn't a good game.
But don't we already have that with the big three?
I know, but come at halftime.
I'm talking about how dope would it be to see? Maybe they're too old. I was gonna say Magic and Bird, but
that's nostalgia.
They're too old. But what I'm saying is, 10 years ago, that would have been dope. Like
some of them gonna be airballing,
like,
some of them gonna be really balling. I want to see that. I ain't gonna lie.
No, because guess what? You don't lose as you get older.
It would be.
You don't lose your jumper. You don't.
Reggie.
No, you don't lose your jumper. You don't. You don't.
Reggie still got
Oh my!
I think
Reggie is my personal favorite player.
Yeah, I'm suited up.
So Reggie Miller said the 3-point contest they should link up, like with a legend. So like he said, the new guy shoot one rack, the legend shoot another rack, and it should be like a team.
That'd be dope.
Because they try to change it up with the five bonus balls on one rack.
Yeah.
Like, I actually like the skills challenge. I like the 2-ball, where they had the teams where they were shooting from spots. I actually like that. It was like a WNBA player.
Yeah.
I thought
and a legend.
And a legend.
It doesn't entertain me. I miss the old dunk contest, the old 3-point contest.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed.
But they was more competitive. These dudes wasn't practicing for that. When you get 9, I could probably went in there and hit 9 out of 20 something.
I'm willing to bet you couldn't.
I'm willing to bet I could.
Okay. Well, we'll
Kamo is that guy. We know he's.
I think we're going to go set up.
What I've learned about Kamo is he's.
I got the most hater.
He's a thespian. He could have played Black Panther. Let him tell it.
Black Panther. And he's Reggie Miller in the flesh. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I've learned about him thus far.
Don't doubt.
But you know what? You're made of vibranium, so it makes perfect sense.
Exactly. That's what y'all gotta understand. I got the power of belief.
Yeah.
You can't believe better than me. None of y'all. So if you want to step in the ring or you want to do whatever, know that my belief is strong. I'm prayed up.
Well, hey, listen, man. This is the 4th episode. We definitely appreciate you guys. Checking us out. Please make sure you share. Please make sure you subscribe. Please make sure that you post about this, man. Let other people know, man, about Culturally Correct. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Instagram.
You know everywhere. We trying to get it to y'all. Tell us what we got to do to get it to y'all.
For sure.
We bring it to you.
Be on the lookout for the merch that's supposed to be coming.
We got merch coming.
Yeah, man. So be on the lookout for that, man, and as always, man,
be on the lookout for the hook.
Culturally correct.
Hit that hook.
No.
Abuse.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.